Welcome to the 37th lecture of our series Most Important Current Affairs for the UPSC Prelims 2020. Our topic today, the first topic, is very important. News is not so much important, but you need to understand the background of this news. And the news is that Supreme Court relaxes BS4 deadline. First of all, before trying to understand this relaxation, and later in fact in July, Supreme Court again has barred the sale of vehicles. So we will see the developing news, but before understanding this bar or this relax by the Supreme Court on BS4 vehicles, let us understand what is Bharat Stage actually. Bharat Stage Emission Standards, BSES. As the name says it all, these are emission standards for the engines. This is instituted by the Government of India, and the main purpose is to regulate the output of air pollutants from the engines. What kind of engines? It can be compression ignition engine and a spark ignition engines. Both type of engines are included, and in those categories your motor vehicles are also included. Generators and everything is also included. Who gives the timeline for the implementation of different stages? It is given by Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB. CPCB is present in Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So are we having this something novel? We have created it. Yes, we have created it, but we have taken our inspiration from European countries. In Europe, you have European regulation, and following that, Bharat Stage Emission Standards were introduced in India for the first time in 2000. See, in Europe, these emission standards are referred as Euro 1, Euro 2, Euro 3, Euro 4, Euro 5, Euro 6, and different kind of vehicles have different emission standards. So this Euro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is for the light duty vehicle standards. For heavy duty, you have vehicles used like in Roman, written in Roman, Euro 1 only, Euro 2 only in Roman. For heavy duty vehicles, you have the Euro standards in the Europe, that is Euro 1, Euro 2, Euro 3 written in Roman. And for your light duty vehicles, you have Euro 1, Euro 2, Euro 3, Euro 4, like that. This is not important to be remembered, but just for a knowledge. So what do we control in Europe by these emission standards? See, all the air pollutants coming from the engines, nitrogen oxides of different kinds, total hydrocarbons, that means hydrocarbons simply, non-methane hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, a very bad pollutant for the air, and particulate matter, PM2.5, PM10, all these are accumulated together and we create a standard in Europe. Following that, India also started doing this in 2000. So we also started with BS1, Bharat Stage 1, Bharat Stage 2, Bharat Stage 3. Since October 2010, your country was having Bharat Stage 3 norms, and it was enforced across the country. Whole country in October 2010 decided to go for the Bharat Stage 3 norms. And in 13 major cities, by the month of April 2010 came the Bharat Stage 4 norms. Now India said that we are already lagging, okay? Also entire country saw this Bharat Stage 4 norm in April 2017. India said that now it is very late. We are under Bharat Stage 4 norm only by 2017, while whole world is going in 6 norms. So what can we do now? Why not let us skip the Bharat Stage 5 norms and directly go to Bharat Stage 6 norms? So you should remember for your objective question, India has skipped Bharat Stage 5 norms. India has applied Bharat Stage 1, 2, 3, 4, but skipped Bharat Stage 5 norm, and we directly decided to go for the Bharat Stage 6 norm. See, in 2016 only, Indian government had announced that we will skip the Bharat Stage 5 norms altogether and we will directly go for Bharat Stage 6 norms. 5 norms will be skipped, and Bharat Stage 6 norms will be there from 2020. So what was the date? Government and court said that from April 1, 2020, the whole country will be having Bharat Stage 6 norm engine vehicles only to be sold. That means the deadline was 31st March 2020. See, so many automakers, vehicle makers went to Supreme Court. They said that we have a stock engines, we have a stock vehicles which are having the Bharat Stage 4 norms. So we need to sell them. But Supreme Court did not listen to them. Supreme Court said that we had already told you that whole country will be having from April 2020 this Bharat Stage 6 norms only. So you are not allowed to sell them. Supreme Court banned the sale and registration of motor vehicles conforming to the emission standard Bharat Stage 4 and not the 6 in the entire country from April 1, 2020. This was the whole background. Also, one more thing you need to know. Many people said that Delhi is having another kind of problem, a smog problem and everything. Delhi is having high amount of pollutant. So for whole country you are giving the deadline March 31st, 2020. That is from April 1, 2020 you will start the Bharat Stage 6. But why not on a limited scale in Delhi, National Capital Territory? Why not introduce the Bharat Stage 6 norms earlier only? Yes, the government decided that okay fine, in Delhi what we will do, instead of 1 April 2020, Delhi will be having the Bharat Stage 6 norm from April 1, 2018 only. In Delhi, 2 years advanced, 1 April 2018 only, while the whole country will be having from April 1, 2020. For that you needed the fuel also of that kind. So yes, in Delhi, BS Stage 6 fuels are present in all your petroleum stations, or you call it petrol pump, right? So that is why your petroleum ministry asked oil marketing companies that please examine the possibility of introduction of BS6 fuels, auto fuels in the whole of the NCR from 1 April 2019, because the engines now will be coming with your Bharat Stage 6 norms. So we need the fuel also of Bharat Stage 6 norms. Now the problem is that all your automobile companies had planned for the entire country. They did not plan for the Delhi. So in Delhi they were having problems selling their vehicles. They were preparing the roadmap for 2020. But in Delhi government advanced this. So in these 2 years automobile sector faced problem of a stock accumulating from Bharat Stage 4 in Delhi or NCT. If you compare the Bharat Stage 4 and Bharat Stage 6, you will realize how effective is this fuel type. In fuel type of Bharat Stage 6, if you see the pollutant gases, which are petroleum distillate vehicles, two type of vehicles, right? Petroleum and diesel. So in petroleum vehicles, you can see the pollutant gases, nitrogen oxide, particulate matter limit. Nitrogen oxide in your Bharat Stage 6 is just 60 milligram. Nitrogen oxide in Bharat Stage 4 was 80 milligram. One thing. Diesel, when you compare, diesel is the main pollutant. Diesel engine are the main pollutant. In diesel engine, in Bharat Stage 6, you have nitrogen oxide limit 80 milligram only. And you see in Bharat Stage 4, 250 milligram, almost 3 times pollutant of the diesel, in pollutant in diesel vehicle in Bharat Stage 4 compared to Bharat Stage 6. If you see the particulate matter limit in your BS6, you have just 4.5 milligram per kilometer. But in C, Bharat Stage 4, it was 25. Also, your hydrocarbons and NOx in Bharat Stage 6 in diesel vehicle it is 170, while in Bharat Stage 4 in diesel vehicle it was 300 milligram. So these are the different kind of emission standards. So now as you have understood the whole conflict and whole emission standards, now let us come to the topic. Supreme Court relaxes BS4 deadline. What was the deadline before? It was March 31st, 2020. But there was heavy lockdown in the country. So many auto vehicle manufacturers, they have an association, okay? They have an association. That association is known as Federation of Automobile Dealer Association, FADA. This Federation of Automobile Dealer Association, right? Dealers are who are selling the vehicles. So they went to the Supreme Court and said that, see, because of the unprecedented lockdown in the entire country, our automobile sector was already affected. No one was buying. So before March 31st, you introduced this lockdown. Do you remember the timeline of the first lockdown? It was introduced on 25th March 2020 and completed on 14th of April 2020. So before 31st March only the lockdown was introduced. Automobile vehicle and your agencies, dealers, they said to the Supreme Court that, see, because of lockdown, many people did not buy our vehicles. So we have the stock accumulated now. What should we do now? Supreme Court listened to them, and in the month of February and March, Supreme Court said to the automobile dealers, okay, we are providing you a relief, and we are extending the previous deadline for the sale and registration of selling is one thing, registration is one thing. When you sell or buy an automobile, you have to go and register it to the transport authority of your state. So sale and registration both deadlines were extended for the BS4 vehicles because the stock was accumulating. For that relaxation, Supreme Court did one thing. It divided the entire inventory of vehicles in two categories. First category that will mean that the vehicles which were sold before March 31 but not registered. And second category was those vehicles that remained unsold with the dealers only. No one had bought them. Those were in inventory level only. Those were in stock only. So for very logically, Supreme Court said that for any vehicle which was sold and not registered before March 31 and people are under the lockdown, so how can they register? So after the lockdown ends, Supreme Court said that you can register your vehicle, no problem. First category of vehicles could be registered after the withdrawal of lockdown, no problem, because people could not go outside to register the vehicle. For the second category which is remaining unsold with the dealers, Supreme Court said that okay fine, 5 days of lockdown you had before March 31, between March 25 and March 31. So what we will do, that you will be allowed to sell 10% of the stock of Bharat Stage 4 considering the timeline of 5 or 6 days. Once the lockdown is withdrawn, you can sell 10% of your accumulated stock. But in Delhi, this deadline was not extended because Supreme Court said that already it was in 2018. So we are not going to provide any relief in Delhi because of high level of pollution in the national capital. Now an update. I am reading this news from July 31st because one more update had come. Now what happened that again these automobile agencies and dealers came to the Supreme Court and said that no, please allow us to register the other stock also. Allow us to sell other stock also, not only 10%. Now the Supreme Court said that no, we are barring the registration of BS4 compliant vehicles and we will listen to you, but they gave another date, that is August 13. And they also said that we just relaxed the deadline and you went to sell a large number of stock in March during the lockdown. Before that only, on July 8, one more thing happened. Supreme Court had recalled its March 27 order, just the order which I was reading to you. On July 8, Supreme Court recalled its March 27 order. In that order, Supreme Court had permitted BS4 sale of vehicles for 10 days, except Delhi, which I was just reading to you. Because of 5 days compensation, Supreme Court had said that you can sell your vehicles during unlock period for 10 days. But on July 8, Supreme Court withdrew its order. So what is the current picture overall now? Supreme Court recalled its order which I read to you just in this introduction of this lecture. I had told you about this news, right? This order is recalled and now the Supreme Court had said that only those vehicles are allowed to be registered which were sold before March 31. That's it. No other vehicle is allowed to be registered. So overall the picture is that there was no extension of the deadline of the vehicles which were not sold, and those vehicles which were sold already before March 31 and could not be registered, the entire pool of those vehicles are allowed to be registered during the unlock period. That's it. So as I already told you, Bharat Stage emission standards are norms nearly similar to your European emission norms or Euro norms. I had already told you about the two kind of Euro norms for the heavy duty vehicle and the light duty vehicles. These are given by the central government through its Central Pollution Control Board that decides the timeline. BS 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 we are skipping. We are directly going to BS Stage 6 norm. So in your entire country, BS Stage 6 norm is applicable from April 1, 2020. That's it. As you go in the higher number of Bharat states, more stringent BS norms goes, lower is the tolerance level of pollutants. I already compared. So what is exactly the criteria? What is exactly the concept? That it's all about the fuels. It's not about the engine. It's about the fuel. But for using a particular type of good fuel, you need the compatible engine also. So oil marketing companies will be producing BS6 fuel. And now the automobile sector will be producing those vehicles, those engines which will be able to utilize that fuel. Also compare the sulfur level in BS6 and BS4 fuel. The prime difference is the amount of sulfur only. BS6 low sulfur fuel and estimated to reduce 80% of the sulfur content in comparison to your BS4. That is very, very good. Smog will be reduced. In case of nitrogen oxide emissions, BS6 gains an advantage over BS4 as it brings down the NOx emission by 70% in diesel cars and by 25% in petrol engines. So sulfur content is reduced by 80% compared to BS4, and nitrogen content is reduced by 70% in diesel car compared to BS4, and petrol engines reduction of nitrogen compounds or nitrogen oxides is 25% compared to BS4 norms. That's all about Bharat stage. No questions should be asked above that, beyond that. Next topic also very important. Your Great Barrier Coral Reef is going through mass bleaching. In this topic we will try to understand two things. First one is, where is this Great Barrier Reef located, and second thing, what is coral bleaching, which is a static portion of your syllabus. You see this map of Australia. Here in the northeast part of Australia around the ocean, you have this Great Barrier Reef, that is a big coral reef area. Now see, the bleaching is happening in this Great Barrier Reef, and also there are projects ongoing. For example, your coal projects around this Great Barrier Reef. Even your Adani is involved in this project, and once upon a time Australian government cancelled that project, but again they have given the permission. And again in Australia also, just like your India, there is problem of development versus environment. So finally the project was started, but before that there were huge protests. This barrier reef, if you compare the images of 16, 17 and 2020, the barrier reef is going through the bleaching. See, this news came in Guardian newspaper. Great Barrier Reef's third mass bleaching in 5 years, the most widespread yet. What were the first two mass bleaching in last 5 years? As I just showed you the image. One was 2016, another was 2017, and the third mass bleaching in last 5 years is 2020. But if you see the overall mass bleaching events, those started happening in 1998, then 2002, 16, 17, 2020 have happened in last 5 years. Do you need to remember that? Not at all. You need to know what is coral bleaching, and you need to remember where is this Great Barrier Reef. I already showed you the map, so that is not a problem. Now let us understand what is coral bleaching. See, this is a healthy coral, right? Very colorful and everything. Now it is bleached. Bleaching is what? Discoloration, right? A general term. So now this is bleached. Why this happens? You know what is present in a coral? In coral, two things are present. One is your plant, that is algae. Another is, you can call an animal, that is coral polyp. Polyp is present in Cnidaria family. See, polyp. A polyp is in zoology is one of the two forms found in the phylum. You have a phylum division in zoology, that is Cnidaria, and in that you have a polyp, and another one is medusa. So you are concerned with polyp only in coral. So one polyp will be present, and inside that polyp will be present the algae. This is mutualism. Your algae will be photosynthesizing. From that, polyp will get the food, and algae cannot float in the water very easily. So they will get a substratum where they can fix themselves. Algae gets the space inside the polyp, and polyp gets the food from the algae by photosynthesis. So they live in mutualism. Not a problem. Very beautiful two organisms living together. So that is a coral. Now bleaching happens when your polyp is strained because of some reasons, environmental reason, food reason and everything threatened, they will expel the algae. Because we are under the stress, I will be expelling you. Somehow the naturally happens. So algae will be expelled. Now algae was giving the color, algae was giving the food. So your coral will be bleached now. Discoloration and everything. Coral will become unhealthy and it will die. It will then become a rock. So that is how the coral bleaching occurs. See, algae was providing 90% of coral's energy. But now as it is bleached, it will die. They continue to live for some years, the bleached corals, but after some time they begin to starve after bleaching. Some corals recover also, new algae is present. So bleaching does not mean that the coral will definitely die, but the health will be bad, and after some time it can die, it can starve because of non-presence of algae, which was providing the 90% of the energy to the coral. What are the factors causing coral bleaching? The biggest single largest factor is your rising water temperature, or you can just say global warming, and that creating rise in temperature. So now we are going through climate change and global warming. The ocean temperature is also rising. So many coral reefs are seeing the bleaching. Out of that, your Great Barrier Reef is very important. Even 1 degree Celsius above the average rise in temperature can cause the bleaching. See, between 2014 and 2016, a huge scale of coral bleaching happened, and in your Great Barrier Reef only, almost 29 to 50% of the reef's coral died. Bleaching happens naturally, also not a problem. But if you see the average gap between two bleachings, that gap has halved between 1980 and 2016. That means it is not happening naturally. The human intervention, the anthropogenic emissions and everything are increasing the rate at which the coral bleaching is happening. There can be other factors also. For example, you are releasing pollutants through your rivers in the oceans, that will cause the bleaching. If you have tsunami conditions, sometimes that will causes the bleaching naturally. If you are mixing too much of fresh water in the ocean around your coastal areas, that will cause bleaching. But the single largest factor is rise in temperature of the ocean that causes bleaching. The Great Barrier Reef is very special. This is world's largest coral reef ecosystem, and it is located in Australia. You saw the map also. It has the largest collection of coral reef also. 400 type of corals, 1500 species of fish. How fish? This coral is like, they can create an island also after the death. Can you tell me the coral island present around India, or maybe in Indian territory only? One country, whole country is the coral reef. So after they die, they become solidified, and your whole island and nation can be created out of them. So you have in Australia Great Barrier Reef, you have 4 type of corals. 1500 species of fish have their habitat there, and 4000 types of mollusks are present there. No other World Heritage property contains such biodiversity. You should remember that, such biodiversity. And in fact, you can see this is so large that you can see it from the International Space Station. I already explained you these things, that rise in temperature is leading, and climate change is causing the coral bleaching. I also told you that the shrinking gap is a concern between two mass bleachings. Usually they recover, but if you have a small gap, then how will they recover? They will starve out and they will die. 5 mass bleaching already explained. Last 5 years already explained. Next news is about biodiversity. Rare snow leopards are spotted in Uttarakhand. A pair of snow leopards was spotted in Uttarakhand in Nanda Devi National Park in Uttarakhand. So what do we infer from this news? We need to know 2 things. Where is this Nanda Devi National Park located? What are the other national parks in Uttarakhand? And also we need to know the conservation status of snow leopard. What is its general habitat? Conservation status, first of all. Snow leopard is scientifically known as Panthera anguissa. It is classified as vulnerable by the IUCN, International Union of Conservation and Nature and Natural Resources. IUCN has the red list. In that list, the snow leopard is classified as vulnerable. Okay, vulnerable, not critically endangered, vulnerable, and it is under Schedule 1 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972. What is the importance of being present in Schedule 1 of Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972? You get the highest level of conservation, no killing allowed, no trade allowed, nothing at all. So that also means you get the same conservation status as a lion or as a tiger. And once this question was directly asked in UPSC, one organism was given and it was asked, in option it was written like that. That means this organism gets the same conservation status, protection status as a tiger. And it was right. Your snow leopard is also getting the same conservation status as a tiger. Remember that, because this is present in Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Wildlife Protection Act has various schedules, and in that schedule, one schedule is about the vermin also, those organisms which can be killed, for example, your common crew, the mice and rat, those are included in Schedule 6. Schedule 6 is having the list of plant species which cannot be cultivated by one person. Schedule 5 is having the list of vermins, and the number of vermins and the number of species and the names are fixed. Mice, rat, common crew, bat, that's it. These are the vermins which you can kill anytime, not a problem. In a Schedule 1, 2 and 3 and 4 we have the species we are trying to conserve. In a Schedule 5 we have the vermin animals, and in a Schedule 6 there are plant species which cannot be cultivated by one person without permission from the government. What are those plants? One is pitcher plant, then blue vanda, then red vanda, and the other plant is kuth plant. This Wildlife Protection Act 1972 by Indira Gandhi also created this national park and your wildlife sanctuary thing. So you can say that Wildlife Protection Act introduction in India was a watershed moment for the biodiversity conservation. Some more conservation status of your snow leopard. They are listed in Appendix 1 of the CITES. CITES is what I already told you about CITES in the previous lecture, not a problem now. Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. CITES regulates the trade of endangered species in international trade. In that CITES, it is present in Appendix 1. Also, you have one convention on migratory species. It is also present in convention in migratory species. This is such an important animal, such endangered animal. A status is vulnerable by IUCN, and you have to remember WPA Act. In that it is present in a Schedule 1. So very highest level of conservation status. Now you need to know the habitat of the snow leopard. Is it present in India only? UPSC asked this type of questions. They asked 2 years ago, is one-horned rhino present in India only? No. It is present in Bhutan also. It is present in Nepal also. Previously it was present in Pakistan also. So you see, the snow leopard habitat is like this. It is present in Himalayas and the colder regions. That is why named as snow leopard. You can see India. You can see Afghanistan also, a bit of Pakistan also. You can see this country Tajikistan also. You can see Kazakhstan also, Russia also, Mongolia also, China also, Bhutan also, Nepal also. These are the habitats of the snow leopard. So here lies your Uttarakhand. So it can come in Uttarakhand also. So let us see which countries are having snow leopard. This was the map. You have an idea now. See. Snow leopard inhabits parts of 12 countries. You do not need to remember all those 12 countries. Only thing you need to remember is that snow leopard is not like snow leopard is present in India only. UPSC will ask you, is snow leopard present in India only? And they will ask you, there is no snow leopard found in India. Then you remember that it is present in Afghanistan, Bhutan, China, India, Kazakhstan, your Kyrgyzstan. In the map, there was Kyrgyzstan also. See? It cuts Kyrgyz Republic also, so Kyrgyzstan also. Mongolia, Nepal, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. This was shown in map already. In India, the snow leopard is found in the Himalayan tracts, already seen in the map. See, this is entirely in Himalayan tract from the north to you can say east to west. Entirely in Himalayan tract. It is not present in South India or Western Ghat or your desert or your Eastern India. No, Central India. No, not at all. It is present in Himalayan region only. But also in Himalayan region, it will not go in the Tarai region. It will not go in the lower elevation. It needs an elevation. Okay, it lives at an elevation of between 3000 meters, that is 3 km to 5.4 km altitude, and spanning over an area 1 lakh square kilometer across Jammu Kashmir, Himalayas, Himachal Pradesh Himalaya, Uttarakhand Himalaya. That is why you could see 2 snow leopards in Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh. Right? This will not be in Tarai region. Again see the map. See upper Himalayas only, because it needs at least 3000 elevation. You can see Nepal. Nepal's Tarai region is not having snow leopard. It is not in Assam and all. It is present in Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim only. And then your Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, not in Uttar Pradesh, because it will not get that altitude 3000 meters in Uttar Pradesh. What are the threats to snow leopard? People are fragmenting their habitat. India and China are fighting, and the snow leopard is not having any house. Just a joke. Industries and everything are developing, glaciers are melting. So, where will this snow leopard go? It is having the problem of illegal killing, trade, illegal trade. That is why sites has focused on this. That is why conservation on migratory space is focused on this, because habitat fragmentation is there, and snow leopard is sometimes forced to migrate in those climate which is not suited for that cold habitat living animal. Poaching for fur and bones. Have you seen the fur of snow leopard? You see any animal living in colder areas, they develop fur. Even dogs develop fur. You see the fur. This beautiful fur is a prized thing in international illegal trade of wildlife. Their claws, some people will prepare some medicine or totka, okay, some black magic, and also retaliatory attack by locals, climate change also. Retaliatory attack by locals, why? There is man animal conflict, so sometimes the snow leopard will venture into the villages and the villagers will then retaliate back. In fact, it happened in Uttar Pradesh Tarai region. One tiger came, and it was said that the tiger or tigress, maybe tigress had killed someone or maybe just ventured into the village. Villagers united together, 100 and 200 people, and that powerful animal was overcome. They started beating the tiger, okay. And just like the people are going for this intolerance and everything, and sometimes the people go for lynching out of confusion. They say that someone has come to capture their child, and some innocent people have also died in that process. They started beating the animal, beating the tiger, till the time it died. So it could not do anything. It just stayed calm there. They started beating it with stones, rocks, and lathi. Finally, the animal died. So retaliatory attack by local is also a problem. And the climate change, for example, glacier melting, warming of the atmosphere, everything is causing the threat to your snow leopard. That's all for today. See you tomorrow. Thank you.